Today's topic is about neurodiversity. And from Harvard's Health, neurodiversity describes the idea that people experience and interact with the world around them in many different ways. There's no right way of thinking, learning, behaving, and differences are not viewed as deficient. Next guest today is going to talk about navigating neurodivergence in the workplace. And she's going to share her stories and her experiences on early career unlocked. So, welcome, Aileah.
Thank you. Welcome.
You know what? I have to say that's the best name on the planet. Before you share your brilliant advice about navigating neurodivergence in the workplace, tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Aileah, of course. I definitely agree that is a wonderful name. So shout out to your parents. And I'm a solutions architect with a software company called Workiva.
So, again, we're going to talk about navigating neurodivergence in the workplace. Dive in a little bit into how are you knowledgeable in this topic?
One, I'm neurodivergent myself. And neurodivergence is a blanketed term for people who may have any type of abilities, I like to call them, rather than disabilities. And they're usually ones that you cannot see. So that may be anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD. And then you may also have autism. There are different types of autism that you can see, and those who are very high functioning that you may not be able to see. So I actually have anxiety. I also have ADHD, but that is how I am an expert in this space because that's literally myself.
My background is in HR. I work in many different industries. And to me, neurodivergence is an untapped talent pool. And it's largely remained as an untapped talent pool. And I know there are companies out there that are trying to move forward into that talent pool and bring them to light and really make accommodations for them. But in the meantime, the reason why it's also untapped is because there are folks out there, part of that community, but they're afraid to be themselves. And so I'm glad that you're here sharing your story and your insights and your views about navigating neurodivergence in the workplace. So, what three pieces of advice would you offer for us today?
Yes, so do not feel like you have to be anybody else but yourself. So everything that makes you unique is what is also going to help you find the best job and best role for you. I often felt like I had to mask certain things about myself in order to be seen as like a stronger employee. But I realized that those little quirks that I have, they made me even stronger because somebody who's ADHD, I might be all over the place at one point, but when I get focused on something, I'm hyper focused, so I can be very efficient. I can be very productive. Even the fact that I might have anxiety, it has its pros and cons, but I'm going to be my worst critic before someone else is going to criticize. So that way, I'm always trying to be on my P's and Q's. So that would be advice number one. Advice number two is just learn how you learn. I had a discussion with a coworker yesterday because I'm new to my role, and I just had to tell them like, hey, my first few weeks or my first month, I was just trying to figure things out, but I had to relearn how I learned in this environment. So just like you, Aileah, I actually come from a different background. So I come from human resources before I switched into tech. Big difference. And as someone who's neurodivergent and has anxiety, there was like a world of anxiety that just opened up with just coming into that space. So I had to relearn how I learned from coming to a space where I was a subject matter expert to coming into a space where I really don't know anything. So take some time to learn your learning style, whether that means you have to write things down, take notes, you have to record things, you have to be in a quiet, silent area where you can just simply focus. Learning your learning style is going to help you be more successful as well. And the third thing is just like don't be too hard on yourself. Like nobody's perfect. There are a lot of people in the world that are also neurodivergent. They just don't know, what that entails. This is Black History Month. I know it's probably will premiere a little bit later, but this is Black History Month. I love talking about neurodivergence and mental health in the Black and Brown community because for years it was a very taboo topic and we didn't talk about it. So I consider myself a mental health advocate in that space because I like to talk about it because that I identify with it, but I want other people that look like myself to understand that it's okay to talk about it and it doesn't make you weaker, it actually makes you stronger.
Our message here today is if you are part of this community, it's okay to be yourself. If you recognize someone you know that could be part of this community, think about accommodations that you can make to help this person to feel more comfortable in them being themselves. Aileah, any last piece of advice that you would like to give to wrap us up?
Thank you. Think you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Just be yourself, even if that feels like it's different from someone else. That's perfect. You know, that's what you're supposed to do. A lot of times we feel like we have to blend in so much. And I always see this cartoon. Sometimes it's a gift that goes around where it is a person who is like pink or yellow in a room full of gray blobs. That's essentially what your neurodivergence is, and it's nothing wrong with that. That's what helps you be unique. But as you start to embrace your individuality, you'll start to touch other gray blobs and they'll become pink or they'll become yellow, and you don't necessarily feel so alone.
Thank you so much, Aileah, for being here today, sharing your insights about navigating neurodivergence in the workplace and sharing your story.
Yes, thank you for having me, Aileah. I really enjoyed it.
And to our viewers, subscribe for more career advice from industry experts every week here on Early Career Unlocked.